Hey guys, thank you for watching. Just want to remind you, if you're enjoying this content, to go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified when we drop the next video. On him, so he turns and faces, gives a little jab step right there. Beautiful, nice and easy little jab step. And then after that, takes a nice and easy one dribble pull up, loses Drew completely, and is wide open on the top of the key. One of his 2 threes, like I said, to go down kind of from this area on the night. And it was very smooth, not forced, but a big shot nonetheless. Big win from the Spurs last night, a back-to-back win against the Phoenix Suns. Spurs win 132 to 121 with a epic performance from Victor Wembanyamas down the stretch. Victor Wembanyamas finished with 38 points, was the big headline, almost dropped a 40-piece. He put up 26 shots. If you look at his field goals, he was 15 for 26, shooting 57% from the field, which is awesome. And then he also had one of his better three-point shooting games too. He had been struggling from the three-point line up to this point, kind of maybe having 1 or 2 games where he shot the ball pretty well. He shot 50% from the line, 3 for 6, a couple big-time buckets. Another great thing from Victor last night was that he was clutch from the free throw line. He was 5 for 6 from the free throw line at 83.3%. Finished with 10 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and was a plus 21 on the night. Big time buckets down the stretch, especially towards the end of the third quarter with about a minute left, 2 minutes left. That's when he really kind of started turning it on. And he only missed 1 shot from that point on. And so in this film room that we're going to go through in a little while, we're going to break down some of those last key possessions, and we're going to go into what was going on the floor here in a little while. But he finished the game, 5 for 6. Those are the possessions that we're going to look at. And in the fourth quarter, in the last 3.5 minutes, he didn't miss, and it was a big time bucket after big time bucket after big time bucket to kind of push this lead out. And he's doing incredible stuff. We're focusing on Victor in this video. Obviously, it was a great win, great performances all around. Sohan had a nice night. Devin Booker had 17 points by halftime and then didn't return for the second half. And you had a lot of great contributors throughout that night. Zach Collins finished with 19 points, 8 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, 4 assists for him, 9 assists for Jeremy Sohan. And Jeremy Sohan showed a lot of poise last night. You can just see the growth at that point guard position, making great reads. There was one in the first half. He gets the outlet and just zips it all the way down court to Wembanyama running the break early on in the first half. That was an impressive read from him. Showed a lot of maturity. Chetty Osman had 13 points as well on the night. 12 points for Trey Jones, who also finished with a double-double of 12 and 10. He had 10 assists and 12 points. So great night all the way around. It really did take everybody who played any minutes in that second half. It took everything they got. Keldon Johnson finished with 7 points, 3 for 11 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. Not a big night from KJ in the point section, but he had 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block on the night as well. So Keldon was kind of doing it from all angles. When you look at Victor and what he's doing right now from the from the field, man, this guy is outrageously dominating the paint, right? In the restricted area, he was 10 for 12, and that was at 83.3% last night, and the league average is way below that, right? So the league average is about 58%. So he just had a dominant night. He was 2 for 2 from 3 from straightaway threes at the basket. Those were huge shots. So he was just on fire. Towards the end of this game, finished with 38 points, was just doing it in all types of ways. He had a couple nice stretches where he would hit a 3, and the next possession down, he would hit like a mid-range jumper. They were finding him, finally just throwing that ball up towards the rim and letting him go get it. And we saw some impressive finishes from Wembanyama, especially that one-handed catch from Trey Jones. Trey Jones throws a lob from on top of the key. He catches it with one hand, just turns his hand, puts it in the rim. Unbelievable stuff. So he's dominating here. In the paint early on in his career, and we're seeing him just kind of take over at that point. So the Spurs are playing fast. I think that we saw them get out the gate and just go. Phoenix wasn't ready to compete kind of in that first quarter. with the tempo that the Spurs were putting on them, and that was from everybody from Vassell, Sohan, Wemby, anyone who checked in the game. We were subbing a little bit early tonight. We saw Malachi Branham didn't really do a lot from the field or from the scoring sheet, but he was poised. He made good passes. He had good shots. They just didn't go down. He's going through a little bit of a slump right now. But what we're gonna do now is, now that we kind of got the analytic picture of just how dominant Wembanyama was on the night, let's go ahead and break down some of these final possessions at the. All right, so this is a bucket late in the third that really gets him going. One of his 10 baskets to go down in the restricted area. Again, tonight he was at 83.3% around the basket. So first off, we're going to start with him getting position on the block here. And what I really want to point out here is this is a great entry pass from Keldon, one of his 6 assists on the night. So this shows a lot of trust and awareness offensively to make this kind of awkward, non-conventional entry pass. It's like, you know what? I got to do whatever I can to get Wemby the ball on the block. And, on the catch here, we get a lot going down here in a very little bit of time. On the catch, puts that move on him, on Drew Eubanks. No hesitation with his first moves, gets the head fake to work on Drew, and then he creates a little bit of space here on the baseline. So here he gives him one move to the inside, puts the ball on the outside hand, and then gathers there. So he creates the space on this spin move towards the baseline. And then let's look at this finish, man. As he gets up here, his head is basically behind the backboard. With the wingspan, though, that he has, 8-foot wingspan, his ability is just off the charts just to do all these unconventional things that we're going to see a few more of those here down the road. But he has the ability just to reach up and just gently drop that ball in the hole. So we see a lot of Victor Wembanyama operate in this area. It's very unconventional. It's a tight squeeze of a spot. No one really likes to be around that baseline underneath behind the basket area. But it puts the defense in even more awkward positions and spots to try to contest. And here he just has a massive advantage in this area. So there's really nothing you can do about that one. Right? So here we have another finish around the brim off a beautiful and trust-filled alley-oop from Tre Jones. We got Devin Booker who was cooking us all night on offense. But he had to draw the mismatch here on Wemby, and we'll see how this plays out. He actually does a good job of battling and trying to front the post. We also see Drew Eubanks here on Sohan, and this is going to come into play here in a little bit. First off, there's an entry pass here from Sohan that he turns down, and Wemby is putting up his hand, giving him a target. So Sohan perhaps doesn't give the post entry the time it needs to really develop to deliver a clean look to Wembanyama at this point. Instead, Jeremy Sohan is going to reverse this ball up to Tre Jones. So Sohan, needs to be a little bit more patient with the opportunities to feed and target these mismatches. All that being said, what opens up this wide open look for Wembanyama is this ball reversal. So as you can't really get too mad at it. Sohan obviously wants the pass right back. If you can see him here, he's like, hey, give it back to me so I can give it to him. But Tre Jones already sees what's going on. What happens here is that as soon as that ball gets reversed, Devin Booker and Drew Eubanks have a miscommunication on the switch. And you can see Devin look to get Drew to switch this matchup, which clearly doesn't get done effectively, which gives Wembanyama all the room down low, as you see here, where he is most effective, as we talked about earlier. Wide open in this area is an automatic bucket. So Tre sees this and delivers an on-point pass where only Wemby can get it. One of Tre Jones's 10 assists on the night. Devin Booker is trying to get back onto Wemby, but it's too late. Now, the catch alone was massively impressive. A one-handed grab mid-air, then he follows that up with not only catching it with one hand, but facing away from the basket, turns his wrist and just gently guides that thing down the net. I mean, this is something that we just don't ever see in this sport, and especially at this level. So great pass, great finish, special basketball right there. Here we're going to see Wembanyama miss a three. He only shot 1 for 4 on the left wing in this game. It's not a bad look, but as you can see, he seems to not be able to get his feet and ball kind of synchronizing up in the same rhythm, and it makes, for an awkward shot off the left wing, doesn't go down. Here we get to see a little bit of big-to-big dynamic with one of Zach Collins' 4 assists on the game. He had a no-look cutting to Tre Jones also in this second half that was just sick. But this high-low, low-high type of action is going to be a bread and butter for the offense, especially when things kind of break down. These two bigs together have such a high IQ. And when you combine them on the floor, that IQ just kind of doubles. It doubles up. It's like one of those 1+1 = 3 things. Together, they're just both great passers, and they're looking to really get each other going sometimes, and they're very unselfish in that way. So it looks great on offense when Zach and Wemby get together. Now, on the spin move, the defense kind of overreacts to Zach Collins putting Bates Diop in a spin cycle. I mean, literally, every Sun at this point, every Sun defender is just watching the ball. Everybody on the Spurs could have relocated at this moment and got wide open somewhere on the floor. But Wemby, he's the first one to notice this, and he's the guy that you cannot leave and go help Zach Collins on. And right now I'm talking about Drew Eubanks. Eubanks offers some pretty unnecessary help here on Zach Collins on the move. Wemby finds the soft spot in the defense right here, calls for ball. Collins gives it up. He gives a nice little quick, backdrop, no look pass to Wemby, kind of rolling down the lane. And as we've been talking about, he's just dominating in this area. So if he's going to catch the ball anywhere in this area near the basket, Wemby, again, he's just unreal in this area. So, he catches this pass from Zach Collins, extends with the left hand, and finishes over Drew Eubanks with ease. And Drew Eubanks got a little bit of contact there. Could have been a foul. Wemby obviously thought it was a foul. All right, so I love this right here. One of the 2 threes in the middle of the floor on the night for Wembanyama, and it came up in clutch moments. We're seeing him do a lot of this work here kind of towards the end of the fourth quarter. He seems to have a very good head on himself on knowing when to attack, and he kind of saves himself for those last few minutes. Sometimes the Spurs won't check him in until 3 or 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We've seen that a few times now also. So it shows a lot of, this play right here shows a lot of Wembanyama's swagger, his feel for the game, his rhythm with the ball in his hands, right? It's a simple move that he's going to go ahead and put up right here. Drew Eubanks is kind of over respecting his shot, I would say, at this point, guarding him so far out beyond the three-point line. So Wemby kind of turns and faces here, feels that pressure, sees that Drew Eubanks is a little bit out of position here by being so close up on him. So he turns and faces, gives a little jab step right there. Beautiful, nice and easy little jab step. And then after that, takes a nice and easy 1 dribble pull-up, loses Drew completely, and is wide open on the top of the key. One of his 2 threes, like I said, to go down kind of from this area on the night. And it was very smooth, not forced, but a big shot nonetheless. The Phoenix Suns were coming back at this point, and it put the Spurs back up 10. Right here, we're going to see Wembanyama waiting for a screen from Zach Collins to create the switch. Kevin Durant was guarding him at this point, so we're going to go ahead and play this action out. And Wembanyama is just automatically going to flash towards the ball. That's great coaching. Someone taught him very well at a young age that when he's on the block and he needs to come ball side, it's like, hey, you flash to the ball, be ready to catch. And as you can tell on the catch, he's already using that back leg to create even more space. So at this point, there's no hesitation on this catch. He catch, turn, and face, and is going to pull it up right in front of Drew's face. And at this, there's just nothing you can do about it. Look at this release point. Look how high that ball is above Drew Eubanks' head. And there's just no one in the world that can contest this. Drew Eubanks tries to do a good job of just kind of giving him a little bit of contact there on the waist, a little love tap on the midsection. Doesn't matter though. Wembanyama flushes it home and gets it to go. And that's his last bucket on the night. Just a bunch of clutch moments here down the stretch. Like I said, Devin Booker was kind of going at us here in the second half and was going off as well. So he was making it really close. And, I think the Phoenix Suns took a lead at one point, or tied it up at one point, and there was only a few minutes left to go. But then this stretch of baskets kind of came. It was just big bucket after big bucket after big stop after big stop. And then the Spurs were able to kind of go ahead and pull this thing away. So very special work here from Wembanyama. And we're seeing this a little bit more and more, that down the stretch, we might not play him a lot in the fourth quarter, early fourth quarter, even mid fourth quarter, but we're saving his minutes kind of for that crunch time situation where we can really make him a problem, and we go to him, and the rest of the team is starting to understand that too. Like, hey, down the stretch, if he's open at all, we give it to him, because whatever happens after that becomes an extremely positive play for the Spurs, whether he scores or not.